the precious Dharma teaching. Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zheng Kong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Tubten Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of the group practice today, the pure Vajra Chundi Buddha Mother. Simo, Tanzan Gacho, Tubten City, Tubten Kama. All Dhamma masters, Dhamma lecturers, Dhamma teachers, Dhamma instructors, Dhamma teaching assistants, all temple directors and all disciples over here and over the internet. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Get rich. Get rich. Today we practice Chundi Buddha Mother. Actually, Chundi Buddha Mother, the lineage came from the Guru whom I took refuge in, the Master Pufang, the Vajra Pufang. He especially practiced Chundi Mother, and his yidam is also Chundi Buddha Mother. His mudra, her mudra, is the beginning or the source of all mudras. So this is the chief mudra, which is also the mudra of Chundi Buddha Mother. And she has 18 arms. The one form right in front of her chest is this chief mudra. Every time I perform the mudra transformation, I would start with this chief mudra, or we call it root mudra. And Chundi Buddha Mother is truly powerful. We have many disciples from Singapore who came here in a tour group, and they are leaving tomorrow night. Most of them came from Sicheng Lezang Temple, the Lion City, Lezang Temple. And the Kuan Yin on Sima Road in Singapore is actually Chundi Buddha Mother, right? This is Chundi Buddha Mother. So Chundi Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara. So Avalokitesvara has numerous emanations, and Chundi Buddha Mother is also one of Avalokitesvara or Kuan Yin's emanations. Therefore, the Kuan Yin on Sima Road in Singapore is also Jundi Buddha Mother. I have visited the Kuan Yin at Sima Road in Singapore to pay homage there. So, in my impression, that was Jundi Buddha Mother. Do you know the people from Singapore? Right, very famous. I remember when I visited India, there was a religion, it's called the Jainism. And as they were going on like parade, that was Jundi Buddha Mother too. In India, I paid attention, and it turned out that they had, or they took Jundi Kuan Yin on a parade. So Jundi has tremendous power, and the pure, tremendous power. This time, September, the grand ceremony in September 5th, the main deity is Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. So I will transmit the deity yoga of Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. So, and he is one of the Trinity of Sukhavati, with Amitabha Buddha at the center, and to his left is Avalokitesvara or Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and to his right is Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. Everybody pays attention to Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva and forgets about Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. And Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has myriad emanations and has close affinity with sentient beings. Everybody pray to Kuan Yin, but very few people pray to Mahastamaprapta unless you enshrine the three sages of the West. And if they are individuals, usually they just pray to Amitabha Buddha and Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, but not much praying to Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. Why do I want to transmit the deity yoga of Mahastamaprapta this time? It has a special meaning to it. He has three names. One is Shi Dhammaprapta Bodhisattva, Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva, and the greatly powerful Bodhisattva. What does it mean? Da Si. So you will attain power or authority by practicing this deity. Kuan Yin is compassion, and Mahastamaprapta is joyful equanimity. Sakyamuni Buddha is the pure one, and Amitabha Buddha is the equal and straight one. We often say that spiritual cultivation is the ordinary mind and straight mind. That's talking about Amitabha Buddha. When we talk about compassion, that's Kuan Yin. And talking about joy and equanimity, that's Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. And the one who can purify one's own body, speech, and mind, that's Sakyamuni Buddha. So why is Mahastamaprapta also called joy and equanimity? Because once you have power, then you joyfully serve sentient beings and equally deliver them without partiality. So if you gain spiritual response in this Mahastamaprapta deity yoga, you would generate power. And then, if you are diligent, you will abandon the 6 rebirth realms to be reborn in the Buddha lands, Buddha verses. So the Trinity of Sukhavati, the 3 sages of the West, you abandon samsara to be reborn in the Buddha land. Therefore, we should take it for granted, Mahastamaprapta. You will gain power and strength. So, the Bodhisattva would attain great power and authority. So you would have great power to deliver sentient beings and to equally deliver, and that's joy and equanimity. So for September, the most important is this Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva is to obtain the great power Bodhisattva. If you gain spiritual response with him, you would generate great power. You can attract tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people to take refuge and together be reborn into the Pure Lands and Buddha verses. So Kuan Yin can, and Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva too can. Therefore, they are called the Trinity of the West. So everybody pay homage to Amitabha. When we see each other, we say Namo Amitabha, and the woman would say Namo Kwansin Pusa. Nobody would say Namo Dashizi Pusa. So we have ignored Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva, but actually you can gain great power. He is the best Bodhisattva to abandon samsara, so we really cannot ignore him. So if you want great power, then you should practice this Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. So for the Yidam practice, and gain spiritual response with it, you will be reborn in the Buddha-verse, the Buddha land. And you can bring many people, many sentient beings to be reborn there. So in deliverance of sentient beings, not just Amitabha Buddha and Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, but there's also Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva. That's why Grandmaster will teach all of you the Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva Yidam practice or deity yoga. If you want to gain great power and authority, if you want to be a governor or legislator or senator or to be a president or vice president, they all have power. That's through practicing the Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva Yidam practice. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is only compassion. It's only about compassion, because Kuan Yin equals compassion. And because she has affinity with sentient beings, everybody knows Kuan Yin. But we leave out Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva, who's very powerful. So to gain great authority and power, Bodhisattva. Kuan Yin is compassionate toward sentient beings of the 6 rebirth realms. And Mahastama Bodhisattva is to gain great power and authority. And together, all the same, they guide sentient beings to be reborn in the Pure Land. So the attendant to the left and to the right, Amitabha Buddha has 2 attendants along his side, so we cannot ignore one and just bias toward one. So other than practicing Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, we should also practice Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva, and you can gain great power. That's the key point. That's why we say Kuan Yin or Avalokitesvara is compassion, loving and compassion. Mahastamaprapta is joy and equanimity, and the one able to be pure is Sakyamuni Buddha, and equality and straight mind, straight equality is Amitabha Buddha. Now you understand, yeah? So I welcome all of you to attend the ceremony in September. We cannot neglect the Mahastamaprapta Bodhisattva, so that everyone not only have compassion but also have power. Once you have power, you can be more compassionate and can deliver sentient beings equally. Okay, let's share a joke first. In the language class, the students were discussing which books they like to read. And the teacher asked Xiaoming, Xiaoming, what book does your dad like to read? Xiaoming said, we all love to read books. My grandpa reads comic book or jokes. My mother likes to read cookbooks. My pronunciation is always a little bit off sometimes. And your dad? Xiaoming said, my dad loves to read secretaries, but in Chinese it's like, I don't know, bookkeepers. Not really. Anyway, it's a play of words of Chinese. There's a very famous professor that was invited to the nude camp to give a speech, and just in the moment before he when on stage, he was wondering still. He still couldn't decide whether he should go naked or wear a suit. The professor was wondering at the nude camp whether he should be nude or wear a suit, giving a speech. Because everybody is naked, right? So the professor thought, well, it's a nude camp after all. If I wear a suit, that would be improper. So finally, he decided just to follow and the tradition, and he went up naked. And the response was really great. When the curtain was lifted, he almost fainted because all the participants, to show respect to the professor, they all wore. He was the only one that was naked. I've heard that Hawaii, there are nude camps in Hawaii. I know disciples who went there, and then they followed the tradition there, the nudist camp. There should be many others, right? Where else? The wife told the husband, today someone said I am ugly. And the husband replied, if a man says that you're ugly, that means you're okay. But if says you're beautiful, then you are very beautiful. Well, that's nonsense. Then what would you say if you encounter a really ugly one? And the husband replied, oh, we will not talk to them at all. Now we'll do the Q&A. A question from Malaysia. Lian Hoa Ji Wei. Okay, Master, peace with you. Buddhism speaks of blessings never being wasted, but there's also the saying of burning down the forest of merit, as in the case of Venerable Rahula. Is there a contradiction? Blessings never being wasted, but there's also the saying of burning down the forest of merit, as in the case of Venerable Rahula. Do you know Rahula? The Venerable Rahula? Let me ask you first. What does this mean that the merit is never in vain? Can you please check what does it mean? Is that an idiom in Buddhism? Nobody knows.
互不堂间是一个很有深意的成语。
It's an idiom.
你所付出的善行、努力、
So all the good deeds, diligence,
终究会在
and blessings are never in vain.
的身上。
It will return to you one day.
他的意思是这样子。
That's what
你
it
所付
means.
出的善行、努力，
So all the good deeds, diligence, and blessings that you have done
终究会在
will not be wasted,
回到你的身上。
are not in vain, that eventually it will return to you. That's what it
火烧功
means.
德林之说，就是你做了
And
很多的善事，
the
功
burning
德。
of the forest of merit, which means you have done lots of merits. So like a forest of merits, but you lost your temper,
把功德
that raging fire
做的一些功德全部
burn all the whole forest of your merits. The Venerable Rahula,
到拉布拉尊者，
as he mentioned, that's what it meant.
因为拉布拉尊者
Because Venerable Rahula,
做善事，
he was doing good deeds, many good deeds.
还有这个度人家，
Also guide people, deliver sentient beings onto the Buddhist path.
给一个那个
But
一个国王，因为他跟他的这个
a king,
说法给他们的妃子听，
because he was giving Dharma teachings to the concubines of the king,
他被那个国王把他的身体给他，那
and
个叫做凌除吧。凌除就是不是一次就把他杀死，
the king mutilated him, not like kill him at once, but sliced his flesh bit by bit.
他就觉得很生气。
So he became very angry,
后来他变成拉布
lost his temper,
拉的尊者，
and then
因为拉布拉尊者
he transformed into the Venerable Rahula. So is there a contradiction? No, there's no contradiction,
因为他还是一个尊者，
because he's still a venerable.
他有很多的功德，
He's accumulated many merits,
就变成
but with the fire of rage, of anger, he became a Vajra deity.
拉尊者是一个金刚神，
Rahula is a Vajra deity, a Dharma protector.
表示他还有功德。
So that shows that he still has the merits.
所以做善事呢，当然
So
一般来讲，
generally speaking,
其实我们做善事，
in performing good deeds, we don't
不去计较，做
we don't keep track of them. We don't calculate them. We don't.
我个人是不计较这个
I don't.
今天做什么，我今天就
Like what good deeds I've done, what I've done today, I would have forgotten it by tomorrow. And then the next day forgotten.
啊，不管是做什么事情，
No matter what I do, you do meaningful things that benefit sentient beings, and that's called good deed.
所以龙树菩萨讲，
So Nagarjuna Bodhisattva says a statement.
如何叫做修行？
Nagarjuna Bodhisattva, what is spiritual cultivation? And all he said was to benefit sentient beings.
每一个菩萨要成为菩萨，
Every bodhisattva, in order to become a bodhisattva, you have to benefit sentient beings. Only by benefiting sentient beings can you become a bodhisattva. If you only benefit yourselves, you're just an arhat, a sravaka.
利益众生，
If you help sentient beings and benefit sentient beings, then you're a bodhisattva.
但是你在利益众生的时候，
But
受到挫折，
when you benefit bodhisattva and then you encounter adversities and difficulties and you
至少火烧功德林，
became
你还是一个
angry,
阿耨尊者，
then
你还是一个
the fire of rage burns the forest of merits, but you still become the Venerable Rahula, a Vajra deity. So there is no contradiction.
因为这个火烧功德林，
So the Venerable Rahula was because he lost his temper
他是一个菩萨。
and then he became a Vajra deity. Otherwise, he would have been a bodhisattva. That's how it was.
这腹部堂间是一个成语，在佛教
So merits not in vain. That's an idiom in Buddhism.
有时候会提到这4个字，
So
腹部堂间
often in speaking Buddha Dharma, we would mention this.
这些善事会回到
If you have done many good deeds, eventually they would return to you. You would become a bodhisattva.
众生的，
You're benefiting sentient beings, right? You're helping sentient beings.
而且慈悲喜舍，
And you have loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. You deliver
啊，你如果利益
impartially.
时候啊，碰到挫折，
But in doing those, you encounter some
火烧功德，
adversities, then you become angry, then
刚啊，
the fire of rage burns your forest of merits, and then you become the wrathful deity, or Vajra deity like the Venerable Rahula. So, strictly speaking, there is no contradiction.
而是
It's not that you have no more merits, but you transform to become a Vajra deity. And you still protect sentient beings. The Venerable Rahula is protecting sentient beings.
啊，这样听得懂吗？
Now, do you understand?
所以鼓励大家
So we encourage everyone to continue doing good deeds
众生嘛，
to benefit sentient beings.
众生
Do not harm sentient beings.
不要去伤害众生，
Do not harm or hurt sentient beings.
没有意义的事情。
Don't do meaningless things to other sentient beings.
我们佛教讲的是最重要是五戒，
Buddhism primarily speaks of the 5 basic precepts: not to kill, not to steal,
邪淫、
not to commit sexual misconduct, not to lie,
洋酒，
not to drink alcohol or intoxicant.
不能喝酒。
You cannot drink alcohol.
有时候喝一点酒是无所谓的，
Sometimes you take a sip, it's okay. Just a little
不要喝
bit,
醉，喝醉就不行。
but don't get drunk.
啊，好朋友在一起，就像那个
Like when good friends are together, I mean, like the song Farewell, how can you not drink? How can it be
送给
joyful?
那条歌，
That song, Farewell.
长亭外，古道边，芳草碧连天。
Outside the
流笛声惨，
the long corridors,
夕阳山外山，天之涯，地之角，知交半零落，就一幅浊酒吧，一尽欢，
and
消别梦寒，就喝了酒
a
声。
vat of wine, and then the parting is cold, but after drinking wine, you feel warm.
那个弘一大
So this song by Master Hong Yi has been it's a classic. It's been around for so long. It's very meaningful. So when you like your best friend is leaving, then you drink a sip, then you would feel warmer. Now let's talk about the Surangama Sutra. We have finished this first truth. And what is that? You have to generate the non-arising and non-ceasing mind as the cause in your spiritual cultivation. That's the first meaning. The second meaning, if you truly wish to arouse the bodhicitta, you must generate bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings, and give rise to great courage on the bodhisattva path, or the path of great vehicle, which is to deliver sentient beings, to benefit sentient beings. You cannot just cultivate yourself, like what Nagarjuna Bodhisattva says. So the first meaning is to generate the non-arising and non-ceasing mind to cultivate spiritually, and second is to give rise to bodhicitta and to give rise to great courage on the bodhisattva path. And that's the path of great vehicle. You must benefit sentient beings. If there are no sentient beings, how can you be a bodhisattva? In order to become a bodhisattva, you must benefit sentient beings. Sentient beings, the so-called sentient beings, are not sentient beings. And because they are not sentient beings, they are sentient beings. You must benefit sentient beings in order for you to be a bodhisattva. And you want to become a Buddha? That's because they are sentient beings. So above bodhisattva, that's the Buddha or Buddhahood or Tathagatahood. Without sentient beings, how can you become a Buddha? So sentient beings are very important. In this point, you must benefit sentient beings in order to become a bodhisattva. You must benefit sentient beings in order to become a Buddha. Otherwise, you're just a Sravaka, a Prateka Buddha. You must decisively announce all conditioned phenomena. So all conditioned phenomena should all be eliminated, and carefully examine the root of afflictions. So you need to carefully examine why you have afflictions. Where do they start? How do they start? And how to eliminate them? So that's to untie the knots of the afflictions.
这个从你一直在转世的过程当中，无始以来
In all your reincarnations since beginningless time,
到底是谁在升起，谁在
who
产生业力，
creates the karma
谁在受？
that propels existence, and who receives this karmic results or retributions?
是谁升起的业力？
So ponder on it, contemplate carefully who is generating karma and who is
受这个烦恼，
receiving its karmic retribution. Who
在受这个
is afflicted? Who gives rise to the afflictions? And who suffers
他叫你想，
from these afflictions? So he asks you to contemplate on this.
根本是什么？
What is the root of afflictions? Why do you have afflictions?
烦恼
Who gives rise to the afflictions, and who experiences the afflictions?
要想清楚，
You need to think carefully about it.
大圣心利益众生，
So, if you give rise
要发菩提心，
to the
一
path of the great vehicle, you must generate bodhicitta, deliver sentient beings.
不能只修小乘，
So he said that you have to give rise to bodhicitta. You cannot just practice this lesser vehicle, because that you're only practicing yourself. So not only you're liberating yourself, you also liberate others, and that's called the greater vehicle. That is the greater vehicle.
是谁在做？到底是谁
So who is it that's doing it?
烦恼什么？
Who is it that's afflicted? What are you afflicted
谁在
about?
受这个烦恼的苦？
So who is experiencing the suffering of the afflictions?
有谁没有烦恼的？
Once I asked, is there anyone without any afflictions at all? Nobody raised their hand. So that means everybody has afflictions, including Grandmaster.
都有烦恼，谁没有？
We all have some afflictions. Anybody that does
婚
not,
姻也是烦恼，
in marriage,
婚姻也是烦恼，
that also creates afflictions. In careers,
这个钱也是
about money,
健康
about health, that's also afflictions.
烦恼啊，不会没有烦恼。
Can't be free from afflictions completely.
我烦恼才多。
When I was in the hospital, I had many afflictions.
真的
I had to be injected
又要打胰
or
岛
drawn,
要抽血了，
and I
要
had
输血了，
to be injected insulin and then the blood drawn, and they had to test the urine and the feces.
一下子2个小时，
So many things. They came by every couple hours.
一天验血好几次，
It's non-stop,
验
and
血要好几次，
they drew the blood many times,
来排贫血，
tested, and then transfusion of blood. And I lacked blood, and they kept drawing blood, and I kept bleeding too.
我烦死了。
Oh, that was so afflicted. I was so afflicted,
这边打了
so bothersome.
又割了，
There were 4 holes here, and there's a cut here. Oh my gosh.
割了又割不干净，还在流血。
And then, after they cut open once, and they didn't do it well, so they cut it again. Oh my gosh.
看着那
So many afflictions.
个到那轻轨的列车，
And every day I look out the window and saw the light rail passing by. And I was thinking I should be on it. When can I stand up and walk?
那时候烦恼才多。
So at that time, I had so many afflictions. Think about it.
等到你出院的时候，你要叫我去做轻轨，我不做。
And now after I got out of the hospital and you asked me to get on the light rail? No, I don't want to. Nobody was on it. Very few.
开车啊，
Most people drive.
做轻轨。
Not many people get on the light rail.
这烦恼是怎么样子？健康也是烦恼，
So,
身体不健康，哇，
what's all about afflictions? Health is afflictions. If you're not healthy, that's you're being afflicted. When your legs are weak, you also have affliction.
你也是烦恼啊。
When you don't sleep well at night, you have affliction.
这个
Many people
我记得有一次
have problems with sleep. I know. One time I knew a psychiatrist,
其中有一个就有，
and he told me of the 3 people walking on the street, one of them would have a sleep problem. Not just insomnia, but they had lots of dreams or strange dreams,
怪怪的梦境，有的根本睡不
all kinds of weird things. Some just could not fall asleep.
有的一躺下脑筋转个不停，
Some
根本睡不
had racing thoughts as soon as they lie down. They couldn't fall asleep at all. And most of them have afflictions. If you have illnesses or ailments on your body, you would have afflictions. If you don't sleep well at night,
到床又胖，
then in the daytime you don't have any energy. And then at night, when you see the bed, you would be afflicted. You cannot sleep.
睡眠不是很好。
So sleep is also
3个
affliction.
人当中至少有一个，
So that psychiatrist told us that of 3 people, at least 1 would have sleep problems.
有的人睡的时间很短，
Some people sleep for a very short time.
年纪大了，有时候睡眠
And in old age, sometimes people don't sleep well.
昏断睡眠法，
So we call it the practice of pieces of sleep.
睡眠法，
So you sleep for a period of time, and then you get up, and then you sleep again, and then you get up, and then you sleep again at different time.
有的时候每一次都睡到很紧张，到处找厕所，
And sometimes you sleep and became very anxious, looking for bathrooms everywhere, and all the toilets were filled, and you couldn't find any. It turned out
原来是这样，
that you had to urinate.
厕所又回来，
So you woke up and then you went to the bathroom and then came back to sleep.
好多奇奇怪怪的梦，每一次都很奇，在梦中都很
So many strange dreams, and every time you're very anxious,
找不到。这个
and sometimes you just can't find anything to eat. Not in this room or that room or that room, and you kept looking and kept looking, and finally you woke up,
还是找不到，
and still you couldn't find it.
到处都是烦恼。
Afflictions everywhere, even about sleep.
怎么来的？
Where did it come about? How did it come about? Where is it from?
我以前从来没有这个老的烦恼。
I never had any afflictions about old age before.
我讲过，我66岁回台湾，
I've talked about this. At 66, I returned to Taiwan.
66岁回来，
Golden Mother told me, you come back at 66.
为什么要回去？
And
到了66岁的
why do I have to go back at 66? And sure enough, at 66, something happened and I had to return to Taiwan, and I did.
到76岁，
So from 66 to 76, I spent half a year in Taiwan and half a year in America.
10年之间，
For 10 years,
雷藏寺整个
I helped Taiwan Lizang Temple
完成，
to complete their development and building,
来一个
and also even building the 7th floor
10年当中，
high-rise, I mean tall building, 7th floor building.
这个是雷藏
I did all those in 10 years.
盖起来，还没有装潢，
It's like, and before they renovate, before the renovation completed, I returned here. So now it's just left there. Is it finished now?
还没有啊，
Not yet.
天哪，
Oh gosh, I cannot work so hard anymore because I discovered I'm also getting old.
76岁，
At that time, I did it until I was 76.
10年在台湾，
10 years in Taiwan.
拼了10年，
I worked really hard
那个钢
for 10 years.
锈
Before then, all the steel rods were rusty and
盖
was
再盖了一层，
was
几层的这个
and then they finished the whole development, and in addition they built a 7th floor building. And now you ask me to work hard for your renovation,
这次病了，我发觉哎，
for the interior decoration. And this time, after I got sick, I discovered I'm old already. In the past, I could do anything. But when you're old, you can't do anything.
老也是一种苦啊，
So old age is also a kind of
没
suffering.
有力耶，
Your legs are weak.
很多毛病会产生出来，
Many ailments will surface, will appear.
对，很容易生病。
And it's easy for you to fall sick when you're
像
old.
我以前这么拼的人，
I was a very hardworking person. How could I have time to be sick? I cannot allow myself to be sick.
哪一场缺席过？
I never miss any ceremonies, never.
生病出来，休养2个礼拜我就出
And
来
after I was sick, only 2 weeks recovery, and I came back already to the Seattle Lizang Temple.
我就上法座了，做
And only after a month, I got on the Dharma throne to conduct the grand
这样
ceremony.
子拼的。
So I work so hard like that.
那个连起
The doctor,
连毅
Lian Qi and Lian Yi,
出院1个月，你就要主持大法会，可以吗？
you just got out from the hospital for 1 month. Can you conduct the grand ceremony? And I said, sure. But actually, my legs were really weak, and I had difficulty even got on and got off the car
就害怕那伤口会伤到，
because every time I got on the car or got off the car, the wound would be injured. I was afraid that I would injure the wound.
出来1个礼拜，
The wound only 1 month,
主持大法会，
and I already conducted the grand ceremony.
都感觉到伤口都很痛。
That time it was painful. The wound was painful every time I got on and got off the car.
还好，那个最小的
But luckily, my youngest granddaughter, who's 3,
手入场，
and she let me hold her hand to enter into the ceremonial hall and to show my support to get on the Dharma throne.
一直走到那个会场中央，
And she held my hand until to the center, right in front of the altar. And only when I was trying to hold the incense to pray, she went up to the altar, to the stage, and to show me that it's okay for me to get up. To get up there. She was only 3.
这是很拼的。
So I really worked very hard.
不过也是有烦恼，害怕。
But still, I had afflictions because I was afraid. I did not dare to cough because it would affect the wound.
牵动伤口。
The So, in order to deliver sentient beings, you have to have great courage, great courage.
应该仔细地想一想，
And you should contemplate
根本是什么？
carefully,
从
observe what is the root of your afflictions.
业
Since beginningless time, who creates this karma? And who receives its results?
这样，它是谁做的？
Who
谁做的业？
who did the karma and who received the karma?
你发了这个大圣的心、勇猛心呢？
If you give rise to the great courage on the Bodhisattva path, you must renounce all conditioned phenomena.
都是有为相，
Everything with birth and death, everything that is arising and ceasing are called conditioned phenomena.
无生无
And you need to renounce them. And everything that is non-arising and non-ceasing is unconditioned phenomena.
你如果能够进入无为相，
If you can enter unconditioned phenomena, then you will not suffer
无也不算，
afflictions. And even when there is suffering, there is not suffering. Once you enter unconditioned phenomena, to generate great courage to benefit sentient beings.
“这个是讲老的啦。当你到了一个年纪，
This is talking about old
一
age.
些奇怪的时间醒过来，
When you reach a certain age, you will wake up at a certain
一
time,
些奇怪的时间很想睡，
and you would fall asleep at a strange time too. That shows that you're old.
我以前有一段时间
In the past,
都在睡觉，
for a period of time, I fell asleep even on the Dharma throne, but recently I can't even sleep,
觉都睡不着，
even if I want to, on this Dharma throne.
没有睡耶，
I don't sleep. I don't fall asleep anymore.
睡不着，
I can't fall asleep,
回家就会睡着。
but I can fall asleep at home on my own bed.
以前我很好睡，
But in the past, I can sleep really easily and everywhere,
都可以睡，
on the Dharma throne,
睡别人的床，
in somebody else's bed, and now I
别
can't.
人的地方我也睡不着。
And I can sleep in other people's places. So strange. How come? Why? Anybody has the answer?
有谁知道答案？
Anybody?
我在别的地方没办法睡，在法
I cannot sleep anywhere else, not on this Dharma throne either.
以前我比手印都可以睡着，
In the past, I could fall asleep even when forming the mudras at the Rainbow Temple.
昏沉沉。
I was so drowsy.
每一次你们看到我都是在
And every time seated on the Dharma throne,
我在睡觉。
you're performing your practice and I'm sleeping, I'm napping. And then I would wake up during meditation. But now I cannot.
说睡不着好。
Is that good?
现在很有精神，
Now I'm very energized, so I cannot fall asleep.
就是只有睡自己的床上才睡得着。
I can only sleep in my own bed now.
怪。
So strange.
不知道是不是年纪大了，还是年纪还没有到。
Is that because I have reached that age or because I have not reached that age?
看看这个笑话。
Let's see this joke.
我打算送2个女儿出国。
I'm planning to send 2 girls abroad to study.
她委屈地讲，
And the 6-year-old girl said she didn't want to go. Why? Because she doesn't understand the language there. And I said, oh, English is very simple. Every day you listen
我们家的狗
and then you'll understand. And she said, but I've been listening to the dog barking for years and still I cannot understand.
爸爸没有话可以讲。
Then Dad could not say anything.
我是不懂英文，来到美国
I did not understand any English when I came to America
不喜欢英文。
because in school I did not like English. I did not study English.
你为什么不学英文？
And people ask me, why didn't you study English? I'm not going anywhere.
我学什么英文？
Why should I study English?
我那时候根本就没有想到要出国。
I never thought that I would
杨子金母跟我讲，你去美国，
go abroad. And then later on, Golden Mother told me, go to America. Oh no, I'm dead.
我死了，你叫我去美国。
I'm asking you, you're asking me to go to America? I never studied English.
结果我来了，
And I came here.
我到了美国才知道，还有一个地方不讲英文的。
And then I knew, and then only when I got here, I discovered there's a place then I don't need any English, and that's the Seattle Lechang Temple.
我就是被西雅图雷教士害的。
So the Seattle Lechang Temple
我讲的那个 conversation，
made me, until now I still don't know. Look at my conversation is Chinese English.
对呀、人家联喜呀，他会讲广东话，
Lian Xi could speak Cantonese, Lian Xi and Lian Yan.
会讲那个英文，
And they could speak English and he could speak Spanish or Latin. They came from Panama.
会讲广东话，会讲国语，听得懂华语。
So they could understand Chinese, Cantonese, English, and
这些呀、
and Spanish. So you should at least understand those. I only know Japanese.
你用我的日本话，西口西。
So I know Japanese a little.
好了，今天不多谈。
Okay. Let's not continue.
Anyway，我妈的，别别后。